Pork is a staple in Chinese diets, but for many Chinese, it's becoming a luxury. The price has at times tripled within the past year. We're eating less pork now. I've definitely been affected by that. Now we eat it once a week. Before, we were eating it 2 or 3 times a week. Behind the soaring prices is an outbreak of African swine fever. The virus is harmless to humans, but it's decimated China's livestock herds. Some 200 million pigs have already been killed due to the disease, about 40% of all stocks. And a diminished stock means rising prices. But it's not just consumers who are suffering.
The price of pork has increased, and definitely there are less people buying it and eating it. Honestly speaking, we don't want the prices to be high. We sell more when the price is lower. If the cost is high, the profits will be low.
Restaurants are also affected. They have to try and absorb the rising prices, but inevitably end up passing costs along to consumers in order to make something. The consequences of swine fever has spread to the country's political and economic policy. The Beijing government has increased imports, for example from Argentina, in a bid to keep costs low. The State Council places high importance on the issue of the rise in pork prices and has already enacted a series of measures. These measures and policies up to now appear to have had a positive impact. It will be months, however, before Chinese pork production recovers. That's when the next generation of pigs will reach maturity for slaughter, provided the virus doesn't get them first.
And for more, let's cross over to our correspondent, Su Tsung-han in Taipei. Su, how long will it take for China to recover from all that?
Well, Monica, it depends on how you define the recovery. If we're talking about production, according to experts, China needs more than 5 years before the pork production could recover back to the pre-swine fever levels. But China is not only the world's biggest consumer and producer of pork, but it's a country where pig play an important cultural role, especially in Chinese daily cuisines. So I talked to some of my colleagues from mainland China. They talked about how more and more people feel unhappy because they have to change their diet. So on that, we don't know how long it would take for the Chinese government to counter anger of the public.
Of course, the government's already done something in a bid to keep costs low. Beijing has increased pork imports, for example, from Argentina. Does that ease the pain somewhat among China's consumers?
Yes, to a certain level, because we have to understand 700 million pigs are slaughtered every year in China. So there is a huge demand. Of course, the Chinese government has increased its pork imports by more than 40% in the first 9 months. But that's still far from enough. So the Chinese government also gave subsidies and discounts to help frustrated producers and consumers. But much more needs to be done to solve this problem.
All right, DW correspondent Su Tsung-han reporting there from Taipei. Thank you so much.